911, what is the emergency? I just got home and my husband's dead on the floor.
What did you feel was the cause of death?
I thought it was possible that this was a natural death.
Kelly was distraught, close to hysterical. Also at the scene was Randy's sister, Carol.
There's no evidence anybody kicked the door.
I'm not finding that either.
Carol was jealous of Randy. He was always the superstar. We interviewed someone who ultimately confessed, shot Randy in the head and in the chest, killing him instantly.
What finally implicated them?
Interspersed within their messages were discussions about killing Randy. And she was looking at $800,000 if Randy would just die.
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Dell. Today's Crime Exposé brings us to Greeley, Colorado. A wife was stunned to find her husband dead on the floor in the entryway of their house. As investigators looked closer at what appeared to be a natural death, details emerged that suggested Randy Baker had been murdered. Finding out who wanted him dead was further complicated by his work as an addiction counselor. It was a case involving drugs, family, and money that seemed to implicate more than one person. Police had to sort through it all to find the killer, and in the end, they couldn't believe who it was. It was the morning of August 16th. As the sun rose over the dog days of summer, a frantic wife called Weld County 911. The woman told dispatch that she had come home and discovered her husband dead.
911, what is your name, first and last? Kelly Baker. What is the emergency? I just got home and I opened the door and my husband's dead on the floor.
When I arrived on scene, Kelly Baker was seated on the front steps of the home. I made entry into the house and found Randy deceased on a floor.
Officer Medhurst observed a man in his 50s with a visible head injury. A bag of fast food and a drink were scattered around the body. Kelly Baker told the officer that her husband Randy had a medical condition and was about to enter hospice. So, hearing this information, what did you believe might have caused his death?
With Kelly's information that she provided me, I thought it was possible that this was a natural death.
At first glance, it didn't appear that anything had been taken from the home. But a closer look revealed that Randy Baker's car was missing.
Randy had a Pontiac sedan that's normally parked in the garage, but his car was not there. Also, Randy's wallet and the keys for the car were missing. I noticed that the back door to the backyard was open.
The scene of a death, emotional and fluid, suddenly shifted in another direction.
I thought that was a possibility that Randy had come home and interrupted a burglary at his house and that they had stolen his car and wallet.
While other investigators helped process the evidence, members of the grieving family began to arrive.
I ran to Kelly and I'm crying. So she told us what she thinks happened is he came home from work, either had a heart attack or something and tripped and hit his head.
It was an emotional scene as the family processed the shock of Randy's death.
At the scene was Randy's sister, Carol Baker, and Randy's daughter, Betty Winnick. And so officers would speak with each of those individuals.
When you talked to the family, did any of the interactions stand out to you?
When I was talking to Kelly, her demeanor seemed upset at learning the death of a significant other. Carol's demeanor was pretty emotionless.
Randy's sister, Carol, had been in her brother's home earlier and said she didn't notice anything out of the ordinary.
She was caring for the dog that Randy and Kelly had. I asked Carol if she'd left the door open, but she wasn't sure if she'd left it open.
A fast food bag that lay next to the body was retrieved as evidence. Inside was a receipt with a timestamp. So why was the time the food was purchased important?
I went to that fast food restaurant to look at video surveillance. I found Randy in his Pontiac sedan going through the drive-thru with his vehicle. So this told me that Randy had made it to Greeley and should have driven it home.
The death appeared to be an accident caused by underlying health issues. But days later, discrepancies would suggest a more sinister cause of death for Randy Baker.
Carol said she saw a character in the neighborhood that she just felt that this individual was suspicious.
Investigators looking into the death of Randy Baker awaited the autopsy. But the coroner's findings came as a surprise. What did the coroner find during the autopsy?
During autopsy, the forensic pathologist found a large caliber round in his chest. It was definitely a surprise. There were bullets in his body.
Detectives now knew that Randy Baker's death was a murder. Finding out who was responsible would take time and a lot of digging. Armed with a search warrant, the following day, investigators returned to the Baker home to further document the scene. What did the officers notice that was different this time at the Baker home?
At the initial call to the home, photographs captured Randy's Harley motorcycle that was parked in the garage. During the search warrant, that motorcycle was missing, and Kelly Baker asserted that upwards of $10,000 in cash could not be found inside of the home.
Police again questioned Randy's wife, his daughter, and his sister Carol. And this time, Carol recalled seeing someone in the neighborhood the day Randy died. What did Carol tell investigators that she didn't share days earlier?
Carol said she showed up at the home roughly an hour before Randy arrived. She saw a character in the neighborhood that she just felt that this individual was suspicious.
Police learned that Randy was a drug addiction counselor at a halfway house, as well as being a former addict himself. They considered the possibility that the stranger reported by Carol might have been someone Randy knew from his work. It was also revealed that the marriage between Randy and Kelly Baker was ending. According to Kelly, the breakup was amicable.
Kelly had essentially separated from Randy, moved out of the home, in with some friends, but she continued to work as a hairdresser in a salon that they had built in the basement of their home.
2 days after Randy's death, police got a break in the case. Randy's car was recovered. How did they recover Randy's car?
The license plates have been removed. It appeared as if someone had washed down the car haphazardly, more like using a bucket with a rag is what it appeared in the dust. The key fob was found on the floorboard of the vehicle, but otherwise there turned out to be absolutely no other evidence with the car. There was no latent prints.
The discovery suggested there was a deeper mystery beyond a stolen car. Investigators interviewed their street contacts, looking for information that could lead to the killer.
Through a collection of bottom feeders, we interviewed someone who ultimately confessed that they had come into possession of the vehicle from someone by the name of Mark Raisley.
Police learned that Mark Raisley was the nephew of Carol Baker, Randy's sister. They immediately arranged an interview with Mark, who had a surprising story to tell.
Include with me. Now would be the time to do it because because we don't want Carol to reveal something that just never told me.
Like I said, like in the whole interview or whatever, like I've seen Carol that one time when she gave me the car.
His aunt, Carol, had called him and asked him to come pick up the car, and that her son, Kelly Raisley, had left the car at her home and she wanted Mark to get rid of it.
A court order was requested for the cell phone records of Kelly Baker, Carol Baker, and Kelly Raisley. The digital data would lead investigators into a dark web of deceit and greed.
They were almost in constant interaction with one another. Something like 5,400 text messages.
Within days of Randy Baker's murder, police had evidence that implicated the people closest to him. Cell phone records connected Carol Baker's family with the victim's stolen car.
Mark is a nephew to Carol Baker, which of course, given the data that was extracted from the phones and this lead, Carol's nephew handed off a dead man's car after he had been murdered. The investigation began to turn towards Carol.
The forensic download revealed a treasure trove of text between Carol and Kelly Baker, the victim's wife. What did the text reveal?
They were almost in constant interaction with one another. Something like 5,400 text messages over a 3 to 5 month period.
But it was the content of those texts between Carol and Randy's widow that really jumped out at investigators.
Kelly hated Randy Baker, as did Carol. And interspersed within their messages were discussions about killing Randy. And ultimately, Carol Baker's son, Kelly Raisley, joined into these conversations.
Investigators didn't want to scare off Kelly Baker and Carol by confronting them with the evidence they had found. However, Kelly Raisley, Carol's son, was interviewed, and he admitted his involvement in the murder of his uncle, Randy Baker.
Any conversations at all about the plan?
I was approached through my mom, but it was, I said, well, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it.
Did she explain anything? Did either of you talk about killing Randy?
I mean, we knew what it was.
Kelly Raisley said Carol drove him to Randy's home, and then his mom drove away when he realized Randy had just walked into the home. He spun and shot Randy in the head and shot Randy in the chest, killing him instantly.
Kelly Raisley then stole Randy Baker's car and asked his brother to dump it at another location. Kelly's reward for the murder was Randy's prized motorcycle and $10,000 in cash.
Did these ladies think they were going to get away with this?
Apparently, yeah.
Did they ever talk about it? And were they ever worried that they were engaged in coordinating the murder of Randy?
Apparently not, because they did everything I told them not to do.
What police wanted now were the masterminds who orchestrated the murder. Randy's sister Carol and his wife, Kelly Baker. How did the arrests of Kelly and Carol play out?
The judge issued arrest warrants commanding the arrest of Kelly and Carol Baker for the first-degree murder of Randy Baker. From there, I orchestrated follow-up interviews with Kelly and Carol.
When presented with her incriminating text to Kelly Baker and text that showed her soliciting her son to kill her brother, Carol quickly folded. What was Carol's reaction to all the evidence you had?
She was clearly shocked, and Carol Baker would confess to helping Kelly Raisley and Kelly Baker in the planning and the commission of the murder of Randy Baker.
So you guys had a pretty good conversation about killing Randy. You were telling her not to, but she's saying, I'm going to do it. Who was with Kelly in the house when he murdered Randy?
Nobody was there.
Just Kelly.
Had to be just Kelly.
Kelly randomly shows up at your house with the car. You know the plan was to murder Randy. You knew that's Randy's car. So you knew Randy had just been murdered by Kelly. Is that true?
I didn't know for sure, but I suspected.
What has Kelly Baker told you since the murder? Is she worried that you're going to tell us the truth?
I don't know. We don't talk about it.
I guess my questions now are kind of, what role did you play in Randy's murder?
I didn't play a role.
Kelly Baker was next to be interviewed at the Greeley Police Headquarters.
When she arrived at the police department, I had Carol sitting in a room to confuse Kelly into believing that Carol had snitched her out.
I think I need an attorney.
You do? Okay. Well, you're under arrest for first-degree murder and conspiracy to first-degree murder. You're going to be processed, transported to the Will County Jail, booked in. You have a no bond warrant.
She asked for an attorney, saying she had nothing to do with Randy's death, but I knew otherwise. She was looking at something in the realm of about $800,000 if Randy would just die.
Kelly Baker, Carol Baker, and Kelly Raisley were tried and convicted for the murder of Randy Baker. And as it turns out, this wasn't the first time they tried to kill him. They had been slipping extra heart medication in his breakfast smoothies to lower his blood pressure, hoping he would get killed in a car accident. But he never did. Carol pled guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 30 years. Randy's wife, Kelly Baker, and his nephew, Kelly Raisley, received life without parole for first-degree murder. A life insurance policy of $800,000 was the impetus for Kelly Baker to have her husband killed. None of the three convicted have expressed remorse for the murder of Randy Baker. And now it's time for today's Safety Spotlight. Randy Baker's tragic story underscores the critical importance of personal safety and security, especially during vulnerable times such as a divorce. Navigating a divorce is a journey that requires not only emotional resilience, but practical foresight. Unfortunately, divorce can sometimes turn violent, putting personal safety at immediate risk. In these situations, knowing how to protect yourself is not just important, it's essential. If you or someone you know is navigating a contentious divorce, remember there are resources available to ensure your safety. From protective orders to emergency shelters and legal aid, these tools can provide critical protection during a turbulent time. Understand your rights, familiarize yourself with the financial aspects of divorce, and always know that a lawyer can help you navigate these issues and advise how to keep you and your family safe. Safety planning is key. This includes having a safe place to go, a way to contact help, and a plan for what to do in emergencies. Don't hesitate to reach out for support and use the resources designed to keep you safe. Like so many murders involving a husband and wife, money is often the siren. And more often than not, their own arrogance convicts them as much as their greed. I'm Nancy O'Dell. For all of us here at Crime Exposé, please join us next time and stay safe.